know, it's really, really annoying that I forgot to stream this, man. I'll be honest, I was too engrossed in killing Argos, which is my bad. That was my fault. Ah, man, that's annoying. Well, I'm here anyway. I get to I'll do the second set of battles, so I guess that works out. Ending off at a one time. Well, anyway, sorry for missing out on the first set of battles. Let's go have a look at what the schedule should have been, because I'm a little bit behind on what happened. Ooh. Oh wow! And I missed out a really good one as well. CTE versus TKT. Man, I am hoping that I can go. I'm probably gonna go try to view the VOD for this. Man, I hope I can view the VOD for this. Yeah, I can view the VOD for this. So the question is that, oh man, should I? I'm gonna be. This is gonna be in reverse, really, realistically. What I am going to probably do is I'm going to watch I'm going to watch the next battle coming up, which should be shortly, and then I'm going to watch the VOD of the broadcast, because they do happen to have all the broadcasts saved. So I know I didn't watch it live, but it will be live for me because it will be my first time watching it. So I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry for everyone that relied on me to be on time and stuff. I honestly thought I honestly thought there was no CBL today. Honestly, I'm so sorry. But anyway, I'm here now, so I'm gonna go to the toilet real quick.
You are the top
Why?
100.
Top 100, you are the marshal.
But
It's just like a bad joke.
I don't even know who this guy
Like we
is.
don't actually get the point.
AB, Bread,
It's
and
like,
new
I want
guy.
to say, like, our
Apparently he's
legends in
from
this, kind of
contextual
game,
clues, he's
like,
top
gave
100.
the name to the hidden city, like the hidden city, because you can hide over there. So that is kind of cool. That's dope, I think. Yeah.
Dude,
So
dude.
let go.
let's go.
What? Let go for what?
Also a test.
Yeah.
So did you play a lot of games on Riverland Castle?
A little bit low.
Yes, of course. No matter in
Ugh.
like siege battles or some or some like practice games, I'm
Yep.
there with my team members.
Yeah. So do you got any like
Tips?
tips? Yeah, secrets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Normally we have a strategy when our on the attack side.
Yeah.
We will like rush to the wall on the around the B.
Yeah,
right?
beside the point
Yes.
B.
Yeah, because there's like for this map there's only 2 siege towers. So
Yep.
for
Yeah.
the defense team it's very easy to destroy them and make
Yeah.
Yeah.
and normally if we don't take any if the
I'd love
attack
to
team
watch
don't
these
take any
casts,
methods,
but the
Mm.
cast
they
is
will be able to
such
destroy
low
the tower
energy,
for
unfortunately.
Yeah.
2 or even 3
Ah,
times, which
sometimes
will
it can
make
be
the
like
attack
that.
team very
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So you
like-
just
I would guess that
your
I
mounted
guess
on
it's
the
pretty
walls,
hard
so
Yeah.
it
for
really costs
casters
a lot of this
that are not used to
distraction
casting.
of the defender. So that's
to
a very
cast.
smart move.
You'd
You're
expect that
taking
these guys that have
instruction
like,
as you
I mean,
can.
also
believe the
you also
point
have
for
to
this map is
have
actually
the
to
kind of
It's
temperament
still about the
in
siege
order to
tower,
be a
or whether
caster.
you can, like,
It's
destroy
really
the
difficult.
siege
It's
tower,
really
or
difficult
whether
to
you
kind
can
of
defense
instill,
on the-
like
Yeah.
train
the-
people
the
to do
opposite
that.
side to destroy
So,
the tower.
Yeah.
The natural
So, for the
energy
very first,
is
lap, of this series,
introvert,
it's
I
gonna
would
be
say. You
Riverlands,
need a
Castle,
really
and the
extrovert
strategy
person
is gonna be the
to
Attacker
kind
first.
of
attacker first.
Yeah.
Scenes
express
gonna be
their
the second map is
emotions and
gonna
infect
be
people
hidden city.
with
Yeah,
their
hidden city.
ideas.
So,
I like to talk a lot, so
Like it's a
I'm not
bad
exactly an
joke.
extrovert,
You
but
mean-
I would say that most of my energy
where do
comes
you usually
from
hide in the
me
city?
wanting to tell people
Alright.
my
Yeah, you're
thinking
not
of what's
actually
happening,
fighting, just
especially
hiding.
You're hiding.
After the stream,
I-
like,
casting,
I would
voice,
just, like,
heist
play a-
analysis.
I played a lot
Like-
of, a hide and seek games with,
When like casting in general, you need to have knowledge.
We can make a
Some
new
of
mode
the,
called hide
like,
and seek.
You would expect like
yeah,
every
and
single
also,
caster of like
hide
sports and
seek,
stuff
like,
would have to have
If you want to.
in-depth knowledge of the rules, how the game's played, and again, like, from experience, you will learn these things as you see more and more of it. I expect like people, casters of like tennis games to be able to tell the type of
I believe
swing
they sure
people
have
do.
a strategy so
those
they
kinds
pick
of
the map
things.
themselves.
Yep,
Mhm,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Well, you can see the lineup, a lot of
Is mine
Berettas
delayed?
and
Wow, mine's super delayed because these
Reapers,
guys have already
yeah.
moved forward.
infantries.
Yes, and only 2 or
Two
there's still-
cavalries, yeah,
yes.
or 4 cavalries. Or
Hang on!
Yeah, so
The clean feed didn't switch. That's really funny. That's really funny. I'm gonna open the window here. That's really hilarious. The clean feed didn't switch, but
Yeah.
these
And
guys have switched.
actually quite
I'm
strange,
gonna
because
try
as
to
I
for the point B,
personally
right?
believe that they should rush
Okay,
to the B or
mute those guys. There we go. Oh man, did not get very much time to look at the setup, but MugoonKingdom versus Ace, first battle. I did miss. I will be watching the VOD of the CTE versus TKT. So that will be happening. I'm sorry that I am late and I didn't watch this live. It is to say I was busy killing Argos in Lost Ark. I really need to get the schedule straight for these things and not get caught up on my other things. But what's also very interesting is that we're here again on Riverland Castle. So it turns out the clean feed is actually really far behind. Clean feed is actually really far behind. I'm actually just going to switch back to the clean feed. This gives me more time to set up for other things. So clean feed's really far behind. I'm going to let that happen. What's really interesting that I can see now is that Mugen Kingdom is running quadruple Cataprax. Ace here, on the other hand, the defenders in this case, also running 4 Cataprax, 2 Bastian Wild Flames, so the Vol stacks. The Alchemist pick coming out is always extraordinarily interesting. We have about 6 pikes coming up from Mugen Kingdom, so I think Mugen Kingdom's going to come out on top in terms of hero kills. They probably have more experience in the PvP side of things, or in the hero class side of things, so that will be very common. I don't expect Mugen Kingdom to be able to bring the siege towers up very easily, mainly because those 2 Metallators coming out from Ace could suppress the siege towers. 1 for each siege towers, because you have to remember there's only 2 siege towers on this map. Falconetti gunners are really protected in this map, but they have very few avenues of angles. Immediately coming out with a treb onto the 2 culverins up on that north side. We have 3 mortars here on the south side. 4 mortars probably being built. All the ladders there on the left hand side are being built. Have been put up. Someone immediately climbs with those woodcutters. Woodcutters have high penetration for what they're worth. We got some Royal Janissaries already come out to clear up the free kills. This could be interesting. Normally, classically, we'd see ballistas being used to take out the... ballistas would be far more effective, guaranteeing you those kills. The mortars here, in this case, less effective because of the need to hit them several times. Does look like the left-hand siege tower might go down. Right-hand siege tower looks to also be very close to death. About a quarter of the left. We got the front gate already being pushed, and I think it's going to be a hard push for the siege towers, as the left-hand siege tower does go down. The right-hand siege tower might go down again. Mugen Kingdom going straight for the inner gate there. They've already got a contingent of they already got a unit of Metallators with them at the front there. Not sure what I see inside the gate. Does look like they're being stopped by a spear coming out from Ace side. Mugen Kingdom gonna break down that door, probably send the serfs in, have a little look-see. Does look like they back off. Not sure what stopped them. So the mortars there on the left-hand side, some mortars now on the right-hand side. Suppression not going so well for Mugen Kingdom. I think the pickup is mostly from the surf units, and I do believe that the mortaring has been by this far less than effective. Mugen Kingdom's really gotta decide how to put the enemy into a bad spot. Realistically, this is a good start for Ace. Ace will hold the wall this second push as we wait for another another spawn of siege towers try to push towards the wall. You want to have every avenue and access available. Interestingly enough, if you get on top of the wall here, the Metallators are actually trebable, completely trebable in this case. I think 4 or 5 trebs would actually land directly on top of that Madao and Madao and Falconetti gonna pile. One of Mugen Kingdom's poleaxes try to get up onto the wall. Not sure what he was trying to do. Does look like to be unsuccessful in the end. I'm not sure about this play here. The Treb is going to hit directly onto the Halberdier Sergeants, or not. That, very unfortunate. Oh, completely exposed Metallators here at the front. Probably will take down the siege towers, probably take a few mortar shots. I don't doubt that the Metallators could take it out, but the mortar shots should really be landing in hard. Where is it coming? Oh, that went really high. Really good. Takes out about half of the unit there. Knocks someone off with that mortar strike. Unfortunately, they did move before that mortar strike did come through. We have the siege towers destroyed yet again. Means another minute and a half to 2 minutes of waiting for MugoonKingdom. MugoonKingdom really need to force a move. Again, not learning from other attacks coming out from CTE themselves. CTE, I haven't watched their battle in this case. I will watch their battle later. CTE classically uses ballistas to dominate the right-hand side ladders, getting the right-hand side ladders suppressed with throwing up serfs and trading with the ballistas. The ballistas are key there for guaranteed kills. In this case, MugoonKingdom chose out mortars. Not sure mortars are going to be... again, I don't believe the mortars have been effective. A bit of a waste. They do have nav cans I'm seeing right now. I didn't actually see that in the unit pick, so that is very interesting. MugoonKingdom yet again going in with a little bit of a serf pick. You don't really want to throw your serfs in continuously like this. This is basically free kills. You're not achieving anything as you throw in more and more serfs. The enemy ace likes it. They knock down a ladder or two. Not realistic to actually knock down the ladder. It doesn't really favor the enemy too much to get those serf units up faster. Another Treb does come in, not very effective. Oh, actually takes out 2 Iron Reapers. Oh, more than 2 Iron Reapers. A good chunk. Probably 4-ish, I would say. That was a good Treb. Again, though, not the most valuable of Trebs I've ever seen. It could mostly do with the fact that they're trying to just use the Treb, but they did use mortars, so... The left-hand siege tower did go down yet again. The right-hand siege tower spawns early, so it's getting pushed early. At this point, MugoonKingdom probably the best bet they could go for is a all-in A push, because they're not getting on the wall and they're running out of time for those siege towers to make it. This generation siege tower might, however, make it, because we do have to remember that one of the metallic doors was heavily wounded. I mean, heavily damaged, and we haven't seen the firing of a second metallic door. Ace should be down a lot of culverins. We've got a nice climb coming through from Royal Janissaries, and I think it was Iron Reapers. Massive climb from high tier units now, really throwing the enemy through a loop there on the right hand side. Berserkers, Iron Reapers, and Royal Janissaries moving down, in fact, towards the A point. And MugoonKingdom could make a ginormous swing here, but instead they are trebbing the top section of this left-hand side, moving across the wall. They're getting more and more troops up onto this wall. Big sacrifice coming up from MugoonKingdom. It is not looking good. Royal Janissaries at the front here, probably out of resources, get decimated. Then the hero by Iron Reapers, throwing in units here. Iron Reapers with Claymores along with Berserkers, absolutely demolishing this pile from MugoonKingdom. MugoonKingdom actually getting sandwiched from behind. Didn't get to see that little bit of a flank, but we do have the right side tower up, but huge losses coming up from MugoonKingdom. MugoonKingdom suffered so many losses just now. I don't think they're going to recover from this. We've seen a lot of battles now, and we've seen that in order to make up for huge losses like that, and I mean, that's a pretty big loss, MugoonKingdom really needs to strive to murder every single one of the enemy unit at a trade of at 2-to-1 at the very least to make up for the difference, and probably even 4-to-1 if they want to win a decisive victory. Otherwise, it could come down to the wire, assuming that they trade evenly. But nonetheless, Ace will be up on up. We've got 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go. MugoonKingdom woefully underprepared on doing an assault here. Really could not do their history. They're going to go for the B side. Really smart move. Going to get them some time, but not a lot of time. Terrible trip, I would say. You have an entire army moving forward. Enemy mass has not appeared, and definitely not looking very well at these stairs. What are you doing? Not a single medal turns towards those stairs. MugoonKingdom is working like they're not a team and working like they're individual players. I don't doubt that the individual players are very good, but look at the tail here. The tail is getting caught up. Losses at the backside is mounting. Another 60 odd, probably 80 odd units have already been lost at the back section there, and I don't see very many losses coming out from Ace. About 40 odd, about 2 to 1 here for Ace. Ace is doing massive pickups, but here's a little bit of a trade as MugoonKingdom now swings back around. Ace could fall back towards the base point, already winning so much time, losing 1 by 1. This is not good for Ace because they've already suppressed MugoonKingdom to a point where they've completely messed up. They have no intention of slowing down, but big fire happens right now. That Bastion Wild Flame, absolutely a killer. We got Cataphracts going in as well. Another throw could lock up a lot of that heavy infantry as they push right through that infantry pile. That was quite devastating. Outnumbered, but a Madao and Bastion Wild Flames really turned the tide there. I think there was an Iron Reaper there as well. MugoonKingdom, again, they have time, a little bit of time, but not very much time. Needs to set up for an attack that really will decisively win them a victory somewhere. The losses have closed just a little bit, but I think it's kind of expanded in terms of difference as we clock down to probably around the 400 unit mark. MugoonKingdom will probably run out of good high tier units. This will probably be the last section of good units, and I do think that there are some heroes that probably have no good units, and it's kind of devastating that MugoonKingdom is really not up to shape in their team fighting. They're really trying to catch the enemy in a bad position, but the enemy is more or less playing to their game, catching them when they're weak and sticking together at certain sections, really coming in with the sandwich, catching the tails. I think MugoonKingdom really is the head is moving towards places where it's weak, but they're getting their tails chopped off very easily. But when the head finally shows itself towards the front, Ace really trading out huge. And even now, I do think Ace's push here is not ill-conceived. They've already won pretty big, and they want to lock up the fighting force here. Double Iron Reapers just decimate right through whatever that was there. It does a little bit of loss, but again, a double Iron Reaper pile, one Madao is not going to stop them, as you can see, just cuts right through that Village Watchman along with them. Fight for the finish here. A point is going to be a heavy fight for MugoonKingdom, but they start the battle in such an awkward way, coming in from different angles and now forcing their way through with Cataphracts. Cataphracts getting locked up by the rear guard here, but enemy Cataphracts have wiped half of the cavalry off the field here. That is pretty big for Ace. Ace killing off the heroes one by one, which is surprising because I expected MugoonKingdom to come out on top, but Ace is holding this like no other. Devastating losses yet again, and I believe that will close it out. Does look like we have a back cap, but I do believe that Ace will make it there. Classically, with only one person, it takes much longer than 20 seconds. I do believe at some point the developers did do a change to how the cap point works. You used to be able to cap it in 20 seconds with just one person, but now you need up to 3 people to catch it in 20 seconds, and I believe only one person will probably take about a minute or so. Probably a minute or so. No idea. Cataphracts just clean them up. MugoonKingdom, very devastating loss here, I think. On a assault here on Riverland Castle. I did expect that they probably should have been able to grab B quicker. but the attrition did show itself there at the end, as you can see, getting sallied out on by Ace, really suppressing the attackers to no end here, because again, there's no good units coming out from MugoonKingdom as they run down to about 331 units. Oh, huge losses, massive upset for me, myself, because I didn't really expect MugoonKingdom to choose Riverland Castle to attack, and I also didn't expect MugoonKingdom to attack Riverland Castle in such a strange fashion. The mortar pick is the most strangest of the picks, really going for fire for effect with mortars instead fire to suppress. They were choosing unoptimized strategies to pull off what they did, but at the same time, they're doing very odd moves that I don't think MugoonKingdom really had an idea of why those moves were employed, particularly the surf pick. They wanted to get some good trebs, but trebs did not seem to have carried the day here. Nonetheless, we should be heading towards the second battle shortly. As you can see, no one from Ace's team is on permadeath, but plenty of hero kills. That is quite a hefty number of hero kills. We have one person heading over 1,000, doing really good. One person 2 points off from 1,000. That's I would be pissed. But nonetheless, the unit kills does show that a lot. Well, I mean, the unit kill score shows you that the value of units that were killed was very high, really coming up about half the team from Ace, probably scoring 600 or above. That is a good amount. 600 and above means that they've almost basically killed an entire warband. I wouldn't doubt it. But nonetheless, second battle should be coming up shortly. I'm gonna wait and see if we start soon. I'm gonna have a little listen.
Okay.
It's gonna be out of sync, completely out of sync, but I think it would be good to listen nonetheless.
During the break, you said like the Riverlands castle is bought like rushing point B.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but back to the previous game, it seems like the MGK they didn't like want to rush the point B. They wanted to take over the point A first.
Yep.
And I think that ACE they just like took a very good response to that, because like they knew the enemy's goal must be not like follow the regular way, and they prepared pretty well for that. And I think that is also the key for them to win the game. They are really good at communication, and they can act to the real-time situation, and have really good improvising things.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is kind of very good for ACE. And for the next map, Hidden City, is kind of Hidden City. Now this time is kind of the most popular.
Yeah, but it's also kind of similar, like all about pushing forward the siege tower.
Yeah. So let's say the ACE, if they can successfully push the siege tower in a really quick way, because like it's not just about pushing. It's more about like pushing in a quick way. So the time for attackers is very important.
Yep.
Defenders should like play attackers' time.
Yep.
So just waste that time, and that will be a very good thing for defender. Absolutely. So for the Hidden City, I believe like you have played a lot of.
I'm actually not listening to them anymore. I'm actually
since
looking at other
it is
things.
rec map, right?
I guess I haven't said anything interesting.
So you just like really good at finding place to hide yourself.
No.
Yeah.
But I believe as a longbow player, you will be really suitable, for heroes like longbow as the defender, just like standing on the wall and do some extra damage before, like your enemy get to them.
Not actually, because since the Hidden City is mainly focused on the B side, right? But the B side is actually very far from the wall, so I actually wish I could shoot them from the wall, so I would be very safe.
Yeah.
However,
I mean on the map Hidden City.
Yeah.
Well, but I have seen like a lot of players, they bring musket players, standing on the walls, and their strategy is just to do some extra damage before.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
they
no,
put
for
in a
sure.
siege tower.
Riverland Castle,
And also
it's
I think for
interesting.
both lanes, especially for both
Again,
lanes,
it's interesting
really
that
do
Mugoon
like
Kingdom
siege
chose
for
Riverland
the
Castle to attack.
higher lanes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've
The higher
historically
you-
thought that it
the
was
higher you are, the easier you are to
defended,
defend.
favored,
Higher
but
is
there have
the
been
strength.
many,
Yes.
how to say,
Yeah. So
attacks on Riverland Castle that have succeeded. I mean, one thing I don't
Yes.
understand is why they didn't take any strategies out from CTE's book. One of CTE's book was to use ballistas
Forward,
on
just
that
go
left-hand
and
side as
sightsee.
the
for all the
surf
views
got up,
in a higher place.
called in
Or get
like
hit
drew
by
in
the
the
longbow
enemy
players on the
infantry
wall.
and just ballista those units. It would be a massive pickup, a good usage of those ballistas, and you also had nav cans there, so it's kind of like a twofold thing. If they don't kill the serfs, you've got basically tons of units there on the left hand side open to hold that area, meaning stronger units could come up behind them. But at the same time, if you push your units in, they're gonna get ballisted. So I think what's probably Mugoon's problem is that they didn't have a concrete strategy to take out the front wall when because it was obvious that over reliance on the siege towers. The siege towers classically normally just get up, no questions asked. But again, in CBL, strategy around suppressing those siege towers is very important. Every time you destroy those siege towers, you buy yourself a minute and a half of time. Every single avenue, you need to use every single avenue as the attackers to kind of gain an advantage. You're not getting any advantage in a case where you're mortaring at the very beginning, because one of the purpose of mortaring is not to actually kill, it's actually to wound or pressure piles, so that also it's good for scouting, really good for scouting. You get a lot of airtime as well for mortars. Could really send a mortar up into the air, get a really good look at the enemy position. But nonetheless, here we are on Hidden City. Ace is attacking Hidden City against Mugoon Kingdom. Mugoon Kingdom losing, again, the Ace in the attack for Riverland Castle. But now we're looking at, whoa, massive swing of hero classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 muskets. I do believe 5 or 6 of those muskets will change over to pike later on. Look, see, we got 15 culverins being selected. That is very classic on defense. You got all of the artillery being culverin, only 15 of them, one for each player, and then you have 2 artillery plus a treb for each player from Ace. 2 Bastion Wild Flames. So it will be crucial in certain pile-ups. We have a bit of a filler, really, with the Prefecture Guards, Prefecture Pikemen, halberdiers, just regular halberdiers, in fact, not even Alp halberdiers, which is also very odd. We got also the Bastion Wild, we also have Bastion Wild Flames coming out from Mugoon Kingdom as well as some Fenrir's back. Love to see them work and chomp through some high value targets. I just noticed that Mugoon Kingdom is a two-toned party with 6 poleaxes, well, maybe 7 poleaxes actually, and 8 muskets. Those muskets will be a pain in the ass for anyone pushing those siege towers. Really just get blown up by liquid fire, probably damaged by caltrops just a little bit, and we have blasted to pieces by the black powder grenade. All siege towers get a move on. We're having a battle starting. It is quite interesting that they Mugoon Kingdom going out with 7 pole arms, probably to catch those heroes. You must death ball on that map because it's so easy to react as defenders. Good job, defenders, balcony the towers, and you don't see that in the pub. Azukai, do you know if there will be a CBL International, meaning the winners of each division play in a tournament together? Yes. In fact, the cross-server tournament will be happening later, basically mid and late August, which would put the cross-server tournaments in between the 2 week period that we have between seasons. So you know how usually we have 2 weeks of 2 weeks at the end of a season before the start of a new season? That is when the cross server is stated to be around, because our finals is actually on the 14th of August, which would be situated literally the day before the season ends. So currently we're in the we're in the 8th season. I mean, we're in the 8th week, or I think we're in the 8th week. So we have 2 weeks of the season. Well, we have a bit and a 2 week season of the season left. So shouldn't so the cross server tournament was slated to be around that time, and so I think we will get the MENA, we'll get the SA versus the Asia as a kind of a round robins kind of style, or we could be seeing another cross with the China mainland. Yeah, yes, indeed. So, I'm pretty sure Espada Forest, so the South America Division tournament, should face off against the Asia Division tournament at some time. I'm not sure exactly how the rules are going to work. Probably it's going to be a round robins friendly match where every single one of the champions are facing off against each other. Otherwise, at worst, it could actually just come down to another Asia versus mainland China. So we have a Steam versus NetEase international tournament. So it could disregard the South America altogether. Yeah, indeed. So it will be after the finals, and it's slated to be mid-August to late August. So if predictions are correct, the new seasons should start just before September or at the end of August, and we should see a schedule around in that area. Anyway, back to the battle. Talking a lot about scheduling here. I know I did mix up the schedule for myself. I will be watching a VOD of the CTE versus TKT after this, so stick around if you want to watch that with me. But nonetheless, the right-hand siege tower goes down. Left-hand siege tower did go down at some point. The middle siege tower is being let through. Whoa! I didn't know what Ace was trying to do, but they had a whole bunch of people go through the front gate, and now they're coming back out. I think they were trying to do a little bit of a pickup. Not sure how much they picked up there, but middle siege tower does get onto the wall. MugoonKingdom actually choosing to retreat. And I say retreat because a lot of their players are rotating out and rotating down, in fact, in a less, preemptive position. Because it's not stacked heavy, but I would definitely move my units in a menacing position. You kind of want to show force because you don't want the enemy to act too quickly. What could be important here is the space created by a very, very short rush, because the guys there on the tower could go straight up, block up the side of those stairs, and if they capture the hut section and push them all the way to where the stair corner is, they could treb that, and it could be very devastating. We also have we also have Falconetti Gunner Fire, which is suppressing that stairs. Really don't want to come up, but you have to make yourself known. So Ace is doing very well with moving. Well, not moving. They're not engaging, so they're kind of just continuously suppressing this stairs here, but as the siege tower gets very, 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 very close here, left-hand siege tower actually makes it up onto the wall. Right-hand siege tower gets really close, in fact, barely any damage to it, and I'm gonna be honest, MugoonKingdom's taken quite a bit of damage as the continuous adjustment of the Falconetti gunners rain hell down on that Medal. In this case, once that siege tower gets up, this is a very awkward squeeze here. Everyone on the left-hand side of the wall is going to get squeezed. Everyone on the right-hand side of the wall needs to push up and pressure the siege tower because you're about to get a huge push here. And it's very surprising that a massive Treb does smack into the center of a unit, a big pool happening right now as Iron Reapers are retreating out. This could be a couple of good pickups for Ace as a bad position coming out from MugoonKingdom. MugoonKingdom really got to decide whether to go in or whether to retreat. This half-assing it really not working out too well for them because I'll be honest, they've already lost a couple of tails and they've taken unnecessary amounts of damage. But here they go. A nice Treb at the top. Gonna try to go for the tail as Bastion Wild Flames just burns the Iron Reapers. Gonna lock them up for a few seconds. Even though they are technically CC immune, getting hit by the Bastion Wild Flame is no joke as the flame debuff affects even CC immune units. Doesn't work on Berserkers though, because they are completely CC immune, not partially like the Iron Reapers. I say that, but it's a kind of a weird interaction, saying that Iron Reapers are able to be CC'd even though they have CC immunity. I think it has to do with something like a force play animation, which causes the unit to lock up. Shenji's at the top of these stairs trying to commit to the push. Big loss for MugoonKingdom. MugoonKingdom getting trashed right here as 7 of them are dead. We have a, interestingly enough, a glaive pulls out and circles around. Ace finally getting picked up, 6 minutes to go. Not bad time, but still a little bit short, I would say. Have seen much larger time as getting a quicker. I think the preparation from Ace for alternatives, but nonetheless they were quite disciplined and definitely didn't take a losing fight. So right now the right hand side is completely open as Ace has realized going straight on top of that supply point. I do think that it would be ill-conceived for the defenders inside the wall to treat the attackers right now as well. I think the defenders really need to not allow the defenders to take that supply point. Getting a supply point inside the city is kind of half your job when you're attacking B. We got some Metallitor fire going directly down that central line, cross the right to cross from right to left. Surgical attack. Could be. Well, I mean, like in what vein? Probably missed out when you said surgical attack. It's MugoonKingdom is out of position mainly because they're too far away from the point here. We got Berserkers here at the front. Really good, actually, in fact, to use Berserker to scout out the enemy forces. They're not exactly strong enough to take on everything, but they're not exactly weak either. So anything less than a tier 3, I mean, only a very few tier 3s can go toe-to-toe with Berserkers, and that's only because they just murder them outright, and then everyone else just gets attrition down. Big battle kicks off. We have an Imperial Pike March going halfway through this line here. Medals hold strong, not pushing up, which is fairly unfortunate. We have Iron Reapers just going straight for that clump. Oh man, I feel like I'm on delay now. The back section now getting swung through. Ace just decimates the attackers. No, sorry. Ace is the attackers. MugoonKingdom just get decimated in their attempt to defend that point. Really, really, really surprising that MugoonKingdom decided to take the kind of approach they did, not going all in on the center and not really having much of a rear guard, kind of splitting their forces there on the left-hand side and some in the middle. And as you can see, these cataphracts are still raring to go as they charge forward towards this right-hand supply point. Not sure what's really important about the right-hand side supply point, but I think you can think about some ideas of why it's important. One of them is a Metallitor can fire directly right into that left-hand side wall section. Not so much the same there on the left-hand side, but nonetheless, you can get some really good shot into that red house. And yes, indeed, Tyricon 47. MugoonKingdom is not putting up much of a fight where it counts. MugoonKingdom getting caught out. MugoonKingdom is getting decimated in straight fights, and MugoonKingdom is definitely it's definitely not going to be able to defend this base point and the current situation. We have Tundra Human just slashing their way through Village Watchmen, although they will eventually die. The Tundra Humans are quite tanky, so they don't die immediately. Cataphracts, however, are so tanky, they'll just run you right through. Nice grape shots being deployed there on the left-hand side. Absolutely decimating that musket just now. Poleaxes do massive catches. MugoonKingdom really just showing themselves to be a third-rate house right now. Not even able to stand up to basic, well, sorry. To be honest, MugoonKingdom is down to basically nothing, and it's really hard to come back when you have basically no value in terms of units. And units is kind of 90% of this game. A good hero can really mess up a few things, but a good unit control can change everything. But nonetheless, again, with high death, near zero hero kills, that is quite brutal, and averaging less than about 200 for the unit kill score. That is quite disheartening for MugoonKingdom, I would say, and it's going to be probably a curse on them. I really expected much more from MugoonKingdom. I did not expect this level from MugoonKingdom to really falter against Ace in such a big way. Realistically, again, when you're coming into CBL, you must be a strong fist and work together. Hey, so that division where Plebs is, do you know who won? I saw the finals the other day, but couldn't see who won. Plebs won. So, division, well, technically, so if you're talking about the scoring phase, Pleb was one of the 4 top teams. I'm not sure if Plebs was the top, but nevertheless, the Pleb battle is actually on Friday, so we'll get to see them fight it out against ECL tomorrow. ECL is probably... I put my bet on ECL. I'm sorry, I haven't seen very much of... I don't have very much hope for Plebs. It's mostly because I don't have very much experience with Plebs, but I know a lot more about ECL, and ECL have shown themselves to have some really good strategies, some really good players, but really sometimes lack the discipline with new players. I mean, not with new players, with their players. One of the reoccurring points that I would like to shout out is the control of the units, of the hero in particular, really committing to fights when they need to commit, or retreating from fights when they need to retreat. Bad retreats and bad timing has really affected a lot of teams in a bad way. And this is mostly because they're in the wrong places, or their timing is completely off. A push can really be changed by good angles or timing. So those are important when considering the strength of a team, but also just generally doing or everyone being together is also very important. A lot of times you have these long chains of units where the tail gets caught out or the head gets chopped off, and with the head gets chopped off, you'll lose a lot of ground, and it could be absolutely killer. I think they're probably closing it up right now. So I'm going to what I'm going to do now is I'm going to watch the VOD for I'm going to watch the VOD for CTE versus TKT. So hope you guys stick around for that. I will end it after this, but I will also have to note that starting now will be a watching of pre-recorded matches, so I won't get so these are not live. What so I did miss out on the CTE versus TKT, but I'm going to go back in time and go watch them on the uh, Conqueror's Blade developers back thing. So I'm gonna watch those matches. Best thing about this is that I can flick through to when the battle starts. So battle should, well, hopefully I don't flick it too fast. All right. Woo-wee. So I'm gonna try to not pause it, just simulate live viewing. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy the commentary for this. How this will work when I upload it onto YouTube is that I'll just leave it as it is, but I will switch around. Well, I mean, like I'll have to. Well, I'll just leave the VOD as it is. So that will be that. Anyway, we got the first battle coming right up. CTE. We're going to be watching the recording for CTE versus TKT. I put timestamps all the time, Mezume. If you watch it, there's timestamps for everything, and it's a bit. Maybe I should put timestamps a little bit. Maybe I should put timestamps at a little bit earlier or a little bit later because I put timestamps just before we get to see this load-in screen, so we get to see what kind of units these guys are bringing. Talking about that, we are also looking at a Claymore, a very bit of a mix. TKT going really tier 5 heavy, a bit of a mix coming out from CTE. CTE kind of going out with a very particular style of two tier 4s, a tier 3, and then a filler. Yeah. Mezume, just check out the playlist. I did have someone tell me to find out how to do timestamps. I learned how to do timestamps, and for this season's tournament, I've been putting timestamps for every single video So I hope you guys enjoy that. So right now, we're gonna have the first battle of CTE versus TKT on the recorded. Oh, sorry. I'm watching a VOD. This is not live, so that's But nevertheless, we are here on Wallfort, very classic map. We have been seeing a little bit of Hidden City a lot, so it's quite nostalgic that we're back here on Wallfort. But Wallfort's kind of about 50-50 right now, and with the Riverland Castle that we just did see, it kind of threw up a little bit of a mix. We are still about 50-50 for Hidden City versus Wallfort. CTE just goes right across. No defenses there on the B side. There is nothing destroying this bridge here. TKT just going to let them have free reign. It's very surprising, in fact, that CTE actually wants these siege weapons to shoot towards that front section of... using the siege weapons here to shoot at the siege weapons there on top of the wall, it gives you a good angle, is the first part, because they're much closer. I'm not sure why they're aiming for that. Okay, actually, no. I take that back. I know why they're aiming for that watchtower. That watchtower really messes up a couple of trebs that when it comes when it comes down to this left-hand siege tower, trebs don't hit right when that watchtower is up. But surprisingly, surprisingly, CTE not going straight for the B point, not getting that time. TKT, however, kind of congregating around the A point. What I'm unsure about is why they're not using that bridge to grab the B point. Right-hand siege tower is up, left-hand siege tower, and middle siege tower going to hit first, left-hand siege tower going to hit last. The right-hand siege tower is already there. We have CTE moving right across. Nearly every single member there is right across. We have about half of TKT, no, all of TKT now retreating back towards that supply point now, completely evacuating the A point. So it is the posturing was strange, but nevertheless, I think CTE kind of somehow knew that they would give up the A point, and this is where I'm very interested to see what they're going to do, because ballistas are guaranteed kills. There are very few units in the game that can actually survive a ballista shot. Berserkers, Varangian Guards, Royal Janissaries, and Madao only in Madao Battalion. This is very important because you can tank ballista shots if you place them in Madao Battalion. That 20% damage resistance to all other damage types is quite effective, if I do have to say so. One of the most important things about siege weapons is that siege weapons do not count as a range. It actually counts as a special type. So generic damage reduction is the only thing that will affect them. And even then, certain damage resistance will not be effective, such as the Iron Reaper damage resistance, which is apparently not effective, even though it comes under the same classification. Iron Reapers will be one-shotted by ballistas and will not survive. Lots of mortarings coming out through. The ballista probably still exists, but I don't think TKT's pulled back far enough for the ballista to really hit anything. Again, really good that they're posturing a couple of their units there at the C points, making sure no pesky heroes pick up a little bit of cap points. We did see one of the members, I believe, from CTE take out one of the members from TKT. CrazyTigerEntertainment has been quite ferocious in their attacks and defenses, using a lot of those artilleries to really dictate the fight, really soften up the enemy. And this is one of the problems, I would say, about giving up so early at the A point, is the amount of time we're looking at for CTE to really soften up TKT. TKT could be shelled for upwards of 8 minutes. I mean, I've seen many artillery sieges like this where they just keep getting battered down, and it's been a combination as well in the past, but mostly just mortars here. And I do think actually that TKT is going to be able to, well, they could more or less just heal up for most part. I do think TKT has an advantage here, mostly because they're not really focusing on weaker type units. I haven't seen any metallic tors counterfire. I haven't seen any one-hit kills coming out from weaker style units. We just have a lot of Madao, heavy infantry, those kinds of shebang. So these guys will not die easily, and even if you put them on the supply point, direct hits from a mortar will rarely, if any, kill them. And what's probably also important is the mortars are gone now. CTE is about to make a move, already used up all of the artillery. Ammo from those artillery. Down they go the right-hand side stairs. Left-hand side stairs has a couple of units. We've got Iron Reapers it's very strange how the Iron Reapers moved, but I think it's just because they're just following their commander right through the center, as to be expected, force the enemy to fight out in the open. And this is where a good Trebs there on the stairs could really mess up reinforcements. What you'd probably aim to do is somehow. Whoa, what was that? Unfortunately, I am seeing shots coming out from Metalator's, but sorry, we noticed we didn't see any smoke trail. The unfortunate thing here is that it's very hard to see from this camera guy. The camera guy that does not have projectile trails on, very difficult to see, and but those Falconettis absolutely devastated those Shenji Grenadiers, and that is kind of brutal as a start off. Not to mention, where's those kind of fire bursts coming from? Oh, wait, no. The musket's right there. So the musket's also getting in on that action, trebbing the base of the stairs this time. Hitting it with something else. They've already lost superiority here. Range superiority should be in favor for those that have artillery. And unfortunately, the Falconetti gunners really just aren't pushing up. They didn't give you spectator mode? No, 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 no. They gave us spectator mode during the scoring phase, but for the main knockout section, for the knockout stage of the tournament, they do a clean feed because they have their own hosts and casters to, well, they have the referees there anyway, so they have to, so most of the time, only the scoring phase is allowed to have spectators in the game. Otherwise, I would also have to have a 3-minute cooldown. But it's also good to note that the clean feed makes it easier for commentators like me who don't need to focus on controlling the camera. Right now, the push from CTE is being stalled out mostly because of range superiority. The Balconetti Gunners really did a number on the ranged units. Really good pick, actually. Really good pick out, decimating the Shenji Grenadiers. This is where an all-in could be bad for both sides. TKT has advantage slightly because they have supply, but here is a big kicker. Look at those two units just get decimated just in 2 seconds flat. We have some overwatching Shenji Grenadiers. We have Winged Hussars just gone, try to go straight through. Cataprax try to go straight through as well. Half of them make it, gets blitzed by a Winged Hussar down right through the center. And we have a little bit of cleanup from the Cataprax. But nonetheless, whoa! CTE loses heroes like absolute madman, down to just 6 heroes, while 14 heroes left for TKT. TKT doing super well at defending themselves, not dying, unlike a certain someone. Well, that's also to be said. But, like, what I think is also interesting that CTE choosing to have a longbow in the mix, really not picking out the target, not really having that wide view, that classic across the archer, the longbow range archetype. We really want to suppress those. Well, I mean, there's no range units out on the field for you to shoot, and even if you shoot tertials, even it'll take a long while. Even with full charge, you really realistically do around about 3, maybe 4,000 damage, and that's after all the bonuses like the back, like there's a headshot and then there's a back headshot. So you hit them in the back of the head, so it does even more damage. Whether or not that's multiplicative or additive, not sure, but again, I don't know what's up with these mortars. These mortars don't really, not mortars. These trebs not really making an effect. They're not part of any push. It's wow. This is the first time I've also seen in the CBL where the fences get destroyed. What the heck? That's a wow error. That's a first error playback. Ah, goddamn. Hang on, give me a second, guys. Probably have to restart the thing. (29 minutes, 7 seconds). Should be able to see the VOD. Come on, come on, come on. It's because the VOD ended. That's why. Ah, man, come on. The processing for this should be instant because it's already automatically uploaded. That's really upsetting this is happening. Thought leaving it to download would have worked better. Alright, come on. Does it send me back to where I was watching? Ah, man, it's just gonna buffer? Buffer, buffer, buffer. Sorry, guys, just gonna have to wait for the buffering. I'm really sorry. Although this is a VOD, I thought the Twitch would be working much better than this. So, alright, we're back online. The buffer has ended, so I did refresh the page, see if that worked out. Oh, and also I accidentally put on speaker. And it is source, so there we go. Back up through the center. The fences being destroyed is very interesting because, god damn my internet. My internet just cutting itself. Cutting itself. Back up through the center. Probably getting destroyed by culverins, by the defenders, in fact. And if that cuts out one more time, I am going to blame my internet for, like, this is probably being processed at the same time as being played, so my goodness, this is really annoying. But nonetheless, and there it is last time. I will accept that. God damn it. I try to make this an enjoyable commentary experience, but at this present time, it is literally killing me as the internet or this processing is taking forever. So, wind it back just a little bit, see if it just gives it a little bit of that head start. But I don't think this push is going to go well. I haven't seen this, I haven't seen this. This is my first time viewing. This is a recorded VOD, but I don't think this is going to go well. Mainly because CTE has taken some losses in their first push, and this second push should also drain a lot of their resources. The Imperial Pike March might be able to effectively debuff the entire pile there, but they really need to speed up a counter push. Winged Hussars in the back there doing a really good job. Iron Reapers at the front, though, really decimating that Medal pile. And I think it was actually working out very well for CTE. CTE, we really need to flip the camera around to see the supply direction, but the leftover Medal here is being left to just be handled by the cavalry, which shouldn't be the case because we actually have Medals here on the left for CTE to push forward, and every second that these Medals are living means a second where the defenders are holding. But the Medals eventually do get killed off. A lot of sacrifices from CTE to actually stall out the supply point as well. That's why I wanted to see kind of the supply side of things, to see cavalry come up through or straight through across the C point. And as you can tell, the attrition is enormous coming out from CTE. The losses, however, quite even on both sides. I'm actually quite surprised that the losses were actually not that different from one another. I think um, I think by sheer numbers, the CTE is actually a little bit up. So the finish here is mostly serfs, but we have a cataphract unit just going straight through the center of that pile. 100 units just wiped off the face of this battle right now. Another cataphract unit as 20 more. We got lots of units coming out from CTE, but not a single one standing. I would definitely not pursue taking that point. That C point is not your friend right now because um, you're not being able to stand right now has mostly to do with the fact that you're completely outnumbered and you actually cap it. I think TKT actually allowed CTE to cap the C point. Um, I'm surprised none of their members booked it towards the base point. So these medallions at the front here somehow holding Royal Janissaries at the front, getting pushed forward, and Pike Militia, Village Watchmen, along with Demez Pikemen being used to wear down the units. I'm surprised how long the Royal Janissary lasted for, and I'm surprised how many low tier units are just being thrown in the center here. CTE getting pushed right out of here. 8 left, in fact. We got 2 more CTE getting born camped right now, and this is probably going to be quite disheartening for CTE. You really shouldn't have. Okay, so one of the things I would also give a tip for the attackers is to not, and I repeat, to not capture the base point, the point. If you cannot, and I say cannot, um if you do not think you can even contest the defenders, because the defenders in this case has 3 minutes to hold, and the attackers have 3 minutes to grab it. So best thing you can do is just leave the battle. So as you can see, CT has left the battle. So there are 2 win conditions on a technical scale. One of the win conditions is to kill off every single one of your enemies. So 3 deaths and you're out. Otherwise, if they leave, also counts as an automatic win. I think CTE here really traded badly. Not that they had a really fancy not that they had a really fancy strategy. They just went straight up through the center and gambled whether or not they could win against TKT. Even if TKT was a worse team, I think CTE chose the hardest of all strategies to pull off, because you're asking for a direct fight at C. A direct fight at C gives TKT the entirety, well, 3 directions to play you with. And in the worst case, even a 4th direction can really get some cavalry coming from behind and smack that C coming in from coming from behind. Otherwise, spawn cavalry from the front comes in, smashes them. Spawn cavalry from the spawn cavalry, have them come to the left, comes right across towards the supply point, or you can have supply point cavalry come right through from the right hand side and smash them. Like, I've seen this before. Like, there was a wall fort battle where there was a quadruple charge coming in from all directions, absolutely cleaned up the enemies around C. C was heavily guarded, but when you have cavalry coming in from multiple directions like that, you don't, even if you had a medal facing each direction, the cavalry don't exactly die when they collide with the cavalry, because, well, actually half of them will. So half of them will die, but the other half will get somewhat through. And that somewhat through causes a lot of damage, and at awkward times, it will cause other medals to also try to poke them. So when you lock up the hit from the medalls, our second cavalry can come through and deal massive damage, and that damage is not technically mitigated. In its entirety. It's mitigated somewhat by around about 33%, and then by 50%. But also that 50% damage reduction comes back as a bleed, also limited in a sense. But nonetheless, this is really to do with the talk that cavalry really has a really amazing scaling factor about being able to multi-hit, able to hit no matter how many units there are. As long as they collide with them, they'll hit them. There's no hit limit, and the damage is fairly high, around about 3,000, 4,000 at a max charge or from behind. When I say max charge, there is the skill trait. There is a trait for cataphracts, a skill trait for some cavalry, not winged hussars, however, to increase damage the longer they've been charging for, and it really does buff the damage by a significant amount, enough to really push the limit of some of the heavier infantry. Winged hussars still have around about the same amount of damage, so their damage level is actually a bit lower than something like monastic knights, but winged hussars are still having that war lance trait puts them above any kind of charging unit, so they are still the best lance cavalry charge. So they will dominate. In terms of range. They're kind of like the Forte for pikemen. They have that extra range, so they will always be kind of that niche, that unique pick for their specialty. Nevertheless, I will skip over this for a little bit and get on to the next battle. Hopefully there's not much buffering. As you could probably tell, there is whoa, started way too early here. Kind of bring it back. This is a good place. I'm gonna come this. So, folks, thank you for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is the second battle of the TKT versus CTE battle that is recorded. So this is going to be a rewatch. I haven't actually watched it myself, but the battle is not live. So this is my commentary for the battle for TKT versus CTE. And right now, CTE is being dominated by TKT. So I'm going to put it to you whether or not CTE is actually as good as I thought they would be, because they have shown me some pretty dominating battles on the Riverland Castle in particular, really their specialty. And the fact that they're here on Wolfort makes me think that they're not really that good when it comes to other maps. It's just Riverland Castle, their absolute specialty. Nevertheless, also a really interesting pick from the longbow. I mean, longbow, I hate the class. Not gonna be shy about it. I hate the class. I hate longbow. Why? Not because it's bad, but because I'm getting shot by it is annoying as it is. It is cancer. I mean, like back in the day, longbow was a super dominant class, especially on defense. But the problem is that because there were so many longbows on defense, so many good longbows on defense, you actually had to be a longbow on attack in order to counteract the enemy longbows, because the enemy longbows would just suppress every single siege tower just by shooting off the serfs, shooting off the units, shooting off regular units, by the way. I mean, there were points of time where people were actually using regular tier 4 units like Palace Guards, Imperial Pikemen to push the siege towers, and these longbows would literally murder an entire unit like that. Yes, that was back in the day where the number of units to push a siege tower actually was a little bit less. Because, not a little bit less, there's a minimum number of units that is required to push a siege tower. Back in the day, a longbow could just shoot two models, and the siege tower would be stopped. Yeah, no, that's a lot. Balance has been slow. but it's come such a long way. It's come such a long way. Surprisingly to see here, not going for the B-side. B-side, like, has just been let go. Not let go, but, like, completely ignored. But the bridge goes down. The wall immediately gets destroyed by TKT, probably. And the siege tower on the left-hand side getting fairly close. Middle siege tower got destroyed. Right-hand siege tower also got destroyed. Man, I missed quite a bit as I wasn't even looking. But we're kind of in a stage where TKT could go for a wall. I mean, this is really cool because it's been a really long time since I've seen a non-siege tower reliant push. And that could be happening here. The left-hand siege tower is getting dangerously close. Could make it, but it doesn't. And TKT's kind of in a position where it would be cool. Okay, so what's happened before is that a team went straight through the main gate and took the right-hand stairs. But there's also a different team that went straight through the wall and took the B side one and went back down towards C, forcing the enemy off the wall, and a couple of the guys that died switched to cavalry. And there was a time where B and C was captured, and they were attacking base point, and that was really fascinating. And here we go. Whoa! TKT actually takes the front gate push, but looks like CTE was in a hurry to stop them. Bastian Napan guards really just messing that push up. TKT doing the smart move and pulling back, sacrificing very small amounts of their units, not taking a bad fight. But look how fast that rotation is. CTE going straight back to that wall break. But TKT is going straight through the center again. Look, the distraction there on the wall is amazing. Right now, they're getting pushed from two sides. Even if that wall break push fails, this back section will make up the difference in its entirety. And now we are going to get another sandwich as reinforcements coming out from CTE is going to come in. We have some covering fire also from CTE coming out from some some from Balconetti gunners. What does this trip? Why? Going straight up the wall here. What a turnaround. That was very fast, but very, very precise, decisive movements from TKT, going for the bait of the main gate, going for the actual distraction there on the wall break, and then going straight through the main gate, going in for the rear charge, blast that first primary defense, and going up those stairs. Now it's a fight for attrition. TKT here is the dominant force there on the A point. No siege towers up on the wall. As I expected, TKT is no slouch when they have contingencies. They didn't waste any time with those siege towers once they went down the first time, because they believed that the resources used to take out those siege towers was already valid enough for them to move on to a different plan. And this is good. It means that they've already accelerated to the next stage. CTE will be in a bad position, but CTE still has a chance of doing a big pickup, because one of the most important things here is that they're trapped on the wall. TKT is trapped on the wall, and the surviving forces will have to die, or will be trapped here on the wall, and the surviving forces will probably get murdered here. But I don't think they'll go down without a fight, and this is the important thing, to continue that kind of pressure. Big Treb coming in at the bottom of the stairs, smashes the attacking force in half right there, taking big hits. I don't believe too many losses for CTE, but that was a big hit, very wounded, and we have some Bastion Wild Flames also covering fire. This is a very chaotic battle, but as you can tell, the pressure from the ranged units, from the Trebs, from the position of TKT, absolutely amazing. They didn't let their units that are trapped on the wall die for nothing. They still picked up a lot. But what's also very interesting is that CTE is actually doing a very particular type of hold. They are holding them at the backside of the wall. This is not the first time this has happened, but this is This is not the first time this has happened. This will be the second time that I've seen a wall hold like this. And what's fascinating about this hold is that the hardest thing that TKT has to face right now is actually getting through and getting in position, because CTE will crush them at the front gate, will crush them here at the wall break. Without the ability to go to B side, they're on the without the bridge, it's going to be a bit difficult for TKT to breach through. But mortars are being fired the entire time, and I'm not sure what their effectiveness are, but the pressure from mortars probably doing amazing work right now. I think, looking at the minimap right now, CTE is getting pushed right back as they get hit one by one, and this is good. TKT hasn't presented themselves just yet. It's probably to do with their discipline. And what you guys probably missed there is because since so much action is happening, that the spear did a special charging jump right across the broken wall. Only Spear can do this because they're the only class, yes, that has a charge ability that gets them to move faster than the normal sprint of a horse, making the distance. And what's very interesting here, TKT actually dominating the wall here, going up it. So we have still the siege tower getting pushed. We got the left and the middle siege tower getting pushed. Surprisingly, the middle siege tower looks to be damaged at some point. CTE hasn't given up on holding the B point, giving TKT a little bit of desperate for time. I do think that CTE is doing a very good job at preserving presence. You think that these small positions are out of position. Like, classically, I would think to myself, whoa! A charge comes through. Imperial Pike March might come through from the side. Sacrifices basically half a cataphract just now. And I think there on the left hand side there, left hand side on our perspective, you can't see it very properly. Whoa! But like, they came down, coming up from the rear section, and now this section that's been cut off is going to be crushed. And this is really crucial as well, because this Metallitor in the center, the Falconetti Gun is in the center, is about to be smashed into pieces. Medalls from one side, Cataphract from the other side. Even if these Medalls stop the cavalry, the other Medalls will definitely clean them up. Sacrifice of a Tundra human, not terrible, but definitely in favor of TKT. TKT has basically won skirmish after skirmish. A little bit of a victory here, a little bit of a victory there. Even though the battles have been harsh, their battles have been tight. As in, it could go anyone's way, but TKT has come out on top time and time again, and now they're pushing towards the C point. CTE's best option is to re-establish themselves, because I just noticed that they are down to 6 players. 6 players, 650 units, and they are down 120 units. I'm not sure what kind of units they have used. I am not sure what's happened to the remaining members right now, but I can tell you right now that TKT is just going to demolish CTE into oblivion right now, as there is literally no one left on the field to contend against TKT, as it's a manhunt for the defenders right now. The C point has been captured. The base point is being captured. Exactly 0 players coming out from CTE out on the field right now. They are all dead. I did see one of the members permadeath, and this is kind of brutal. Because CTE has started to leave the match, but CTE kind of gave up the match and the halfway section, but it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise, because what happened was that TKT cut CTE's. What happened was that we couldn't see it properly because we were facing somewhere else. What happened was, in that last section before they pushed on past the wall, is that TKT took the wall. So they had their entire army up on the wall. They had a couple of cavalry outside on the broken wall side. They cut CTE in half. They went down the stairs closer to the supply point and cut off CTE in half. What's very important here is that that half was focusing on the wall break, and another section was focusing on the main gate. This was to stop the cavalry from coming through, but the problem is that by cutting, they were stranded and strategically in a bad position. What happened also with TKT was probably able to dominate the fight against the reserve forces in the back by coming in from behind there, and it was probably absolutely devastating. I think CTE I think CTE here was caught out. It was mainly a catch, and it was a catch by TKT using a very, very, very unusual hold. I say unusual because the first time this kind of hold, the back of the wall hold was used, it was very aggressive team, very aggressive, and they were moving like no other. The moment they touched the ground, they would decimate the attackers. But I have seen this before. I have seen multiple tries of this strategy, and TKT probably the one who broke it the last time as well. They're probably very familiar with this kind of strategy, and this is what's really important, is because that strategy has a lot of holes. Because if you don't have the initiative as the defenders, you are out of position. You're out of position. You're straight up out of position, and your entire line could collapse in an instant. Because not only do you have to worry about the broken wall, you have to worry about the front gate, but there's stairs leading down from the wall, and it's important to note that the discrepancy in strategy is mainly due to the fact of experience. CTE wanted to play off holding them at certain points. They honestly thought that they just needed to hold the wall break, they just needed to hold the front gate, and TKT couldn't do anything. TKT knew what they wanted to do, so they placed mortars, pressured them off of that wall break, opening up, like literally opening up that stair up onto the wall. They didn't wait for siege towers, which was very important because siege towers are a waste of time there when you're already at the wall here. Whew. I think this match, like any other matches, you can take lots of lessons from both the attackers and the defenders. What the defenders did wrong and what the attackers did right. Because you also have to think that CTE had a good strategy at holding that wall. But the only problem is that once is the position of the armies at every given moment. When TKT was trapped outside the wall with no access inside, the main gate and that wall break was very important. But when TKT finally went up onto the wall, main gate and the wall break were less important, and those stairs became very important. And so you can't split your forces between four different entrances. And so they sacrificed a section of their forces to hold the wall. To hold the front gate and the wall break, meaning that they were outnumbered there on the stairs, and in the end got decimated. And I say the army got cut in half because one section gets completely destroyed, the other section is left stranded and now surrounded because the cavalry outside hasn't been engaged yet. And even though the cavalry charged in, and it was kind of a sacrifice, a big loss actually, because half a cataphract was dead to a Imperial Pike March, they still came in to try to support the push down towards that stairs. So what's really important is that the forces that was trapped on those angles didn't move up sooner once the engagement has begun. So commitment of all your forces, and teamwork. CTE definitely has a good strategy, no doubt about it. But TKT definitely one step above in breaking that strategy. So I'm going to leave it there. I've been talking a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed watching those matches. I did, because I expected the TKT match and the CTE match to be very entertaining, and it was. That was quite a showstopper. Like, the precise movements from TKT, I get vibes that they could probably take on EFFS. Historically, were known as Crusaders. So from what I've been told, anyway, is EFFS is Crusaders, and EFFS shows very very peculiar movements that is a step above a lot of teams, and I think TKT is definitely going to be one of those teams that are really going to shine when they're facing stronger opponents. And this is the match where CTE is not a bad team. They're a good team. I don't doubt that. But TKT played them like a fiddle, and that is going to be everything. Whew. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. But other than that, my name's Azakai. Have a nice day. I'll catch you guys on the Friday. We're gonna watch the next two matches. Next two matches. Pleb versus ECL. The first match at 8 o'clock, and OF versus EFFS on the second match. So until then, I'll catch you guys another time. Bye for now.